On April 10, 1963, Lee Harvey Oswald looked through the scope of his rifle to see his intended target. Retired U.S. Army General Edwin Walker sat at a desk in his dining room, unaware of the crosshairs resting on his right ear. At 9:03 p.m., Oswald squeezed the trigger, and a 6.5mm projectile screamed towards General Walker at twice the speed of sound. Retired General Edwin Walker was an outspoken far-right conservative who joined a national anti-communist tour in February of that year after beating criminal charges of insurrection and seditious conspiracy the year before after participating in a desegregation riot during which 35 federal marshals had been shot. In a speech in March, he had called specifically for the U.S. military to liquidate the communist scourge from Cuba. Oswald seethed to his wife about his hatred for Walker, referring to him as the leader of a fascist organization, saying, "What if someone had gotten rid of Hitler at the right time?" 1 week after the speech, Oswald ordered a scoped 6.5mm Carcano rifle from a mail-order magazine, as well as a .38 caliber Iver Johnson revolver, both purchases made under a false name. Oswald took photographs of the general's home on March 9th and March 10th. His wife describes how he would spend hours on the living room floor practicing operating the bolt and pulling the trigger as fast as he possibly could. He had been classified a sharpshooter in the Marines, and after likely taking the rifle in the woods to get it sighted in, he told his wife that he'd wrapped it in oilcloth and buried it near the general's home. Oswald had gone to carry out his plan on April 9th, but learned that the next-door Mormon church had an event planned for the 10th, making it easier for him to blend in. On the morning of the 10th, Oswald finally admitted to his wife that he'd been fired a week before. He came home early for dinner, then left. When he wasn't home by 9 p.m., his wife looked in his study and found a typewritten note describing what she should do in the event he were arrested or killed. As Oswald looked at Edwin through his scope, the bright light coming from inside meant that he couldn't see the details of the window that he was looking through. As the bullet punched through a metal screen and then smashed through the window, it grazed a wooden support, causing the bullet to ever so slightly move, passing through the general's hair and grazing his scalp. Fragments of the window frame embedded themselves in his forearm. Oswald had no way of knowing if he'd been successful or not. He arrived home at 11:30, quite distraught, and listened to the news, clearly disappointed not hearing anything about the general. The next morning, Oswald learned on the radio that he had missed. The irony of this is, according to the official report, the reason Oswald missed his first shot at Kennedy is because it was deflected by an extremely small tree branch, which Oswald accidentally fired through while following a moving target through a small reticle. The bullet from Walker's home was too mangled for a ballistic comparison, but a chemical analysis shows it was likely manufactured by the same company as the bullets used on Kennedy.